Hey, everybody, welcome to the True Crime Squad. I'm Kristi Brower, here with my sister, co host, and partner in crime, Katie Weaver. Hey, Katie.
Hello.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going just fine.
Well, good to hear. Good to hear. What's your
Yeah.
day like? You had a good day?
Yeah. Got a haircut. Went grocery shopping. Yeah. Really
You seem
got
thrilled with life.
got a haircut.
Got a haircut.
This is as
I
short
like
as my
it.
hair's been in probably 20 years, so
Yeah,
we'll see. Hair grows. Hair grows. It's
hair
fine.
does grow. Yes, it does. Yes,
It's
it most
good. There was a
definitely does.
lot of damage stuff. Medication has just raised hell with my hair. So it's good, but it's still a little bit of a when you cut your hair and then you look in the mirror and you're like, who's that? Yeah.
Hmm. I do. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully, it'll grow on you.
Oh, it will, and it will grow too. But
It will, most
so
definitely.
it's fine. It's good, but yeah, I hate getting my hair cut. I hate it, and I'll go way too long without a haircut. And so when I finally do, it's stupid. But I just hate getting my hair cut. Not a fan. So
Spoken
here
by
we
a
are.
barber's daughter. I don't know.
I know, weird, huh? But it's trauma to me. Like I don't like it. It's upsetting. I don't know what it is. But this poor mop needed some real help. So I mean, it's good. It is good, but luckily my sisters bought me a gift card to get my hair cut for my birthday, so that I'd have to just go get it done.
Well, you keep saying, I really want to go get my hair cut. I really need to get my hair cut. So we
I
thought,
know.
hey, how about we help you out with that and give you a gift card for your birthday?
Definitely one of those things I want to put off. So it's good. It's fine. It's probably fine. But
It's
other than that,
totally fine, I'll bet.
bought groceries and talked to a lot of clients. Wow. The new moon today
Ah,
has people feeling all kinds of weird. So, yeah, really
yeah,
just a busy work day mostly. Yeah. What you
I
been doing all
know.
day?
Me too. Pretty busy. Talked to a lot of clients. And Rhonda texted me at lunch and said, hey, let me come get you and take you to lunch. I was like, yes, please. Send it
Don't
out.
have to tell me twice.
That was
Yeah.
great. Yeah. So, it's Monday. What can you
Yeah.
say about Monday other than I got through it? I got through
Hmm.
it.
Well,
Well, we
tonight
have a
ours was like, she's like, I really want Indian food for dinner. So she made peas paneer.
ooh,
So,
yum.
right?
Yeah, only my favorite, most favorite
Right?
Indian dish.
No argument here. Yeah.
No, lovely. All right. Well, we have a jam-packed
Mm.
night for you, or I shouldn't say night. I don't know when you're going to watch this episode for you. We've got some pretty crazy shit going on in the
We
true crime
do.
world right now.
And before we hit it too hard, I really have to give a shout out because, well, she deserves it. But a week or so ago, my daughter Matea had said, Mom, there is a serial killer situation going on in Oregon and you need to cover it. And I was like, oh, I researched it a little bit and I'm like, authorities are saying it's not. I'm like, oh, I don't want to stretch too far. She's like, no, you're crazy. And then she sent me another death a few days later. She's like, you really need to cover this case. Well, we haven't gotten there yet because of, everything else in true crime going on. And by
Well,
God, here we are.
and
So,
because it was said publicly that this was not a serial killer case,
yes. Yeah.
and to everyone, please calm down and stop freaking out on social media.
All the
And
while that they had him in custody. But anyway, we'll get there.
they have changed their tune, so we will get there.
Yes, but I do have to give her a shout out because she absolutely knew and has been more than disgusted with us that we haven't covered this yet. So, Matea, here we are.
Well,
And thank
good
you.
call, Maddie Lynn. We're on it.
That's
All
right.
right. Well, I know you're going to kick us off with a little bit of true crime news.
Yeah. Well, if you haven't already heard, be prepared for a gut punch.
Hmm.
Michael Turney was acquitted today,
Yeah.
right after closing statements. The prosecution or the defense had filed for a Rule 20 evaluation from the judge, which essentially is just the judge taking a hard look at the case and deciding if they have really proved their case, if they've provided enough evidence, if they've met the burden of proof. And the judge decided they had not and acquitted Michael Turney. It was very shocking for the families in the courtroom. It's horrifying.
Yeah. Breaks my heart for Sarah,
Oh, I'm just sick.
who
I'm
has fought so
so
long
sick.
to try to get some justice for her sister Alyssa.
Yeah.
And I
I'm just
mean, when we talked about this, when it started and we talked about it, we said then we're worried.
mhm.
Alyssa's body's never been found. There's no
No,
forensic evidence at all.
nothing.
It's all circumstantial, and it's a death that happened, you know, a
Yep.
long, long time ago.
Yep.
And but it's terrible to think that we've gotten to this point. The jury didn't even get to deliberate. The judge made that decision before.
Yep.
And yeah, it's heartbreaking.
It is. People are very, very upset, hurt, and worried because Michael Turney, regardless of the fact that he was acquitted in this crime, has a very troubling past with
He
crime.
sure does.
And people are very worried for Sarah's safety. And I think that is
Hmm.
not unfounded. Now, he is a pretty
I
debilitated
agree.
old man at this point.
Hmm.
Now, and as of 2 hours ago, he still hadn't actually been released from the jail, but we don't know. I mean, he will be released shortly because he's acquitted. He's a free man,
Yeah.
and it's just a shock. I wish it would have at least made it to the jury. I really do. I They did
Yeah.
have some evidence. It's not like they had nothing. They did have some evidence
Yeah.
of his wrongdoings and suspicious and shady stuff. It's not like there was nothing, but the judge didn't feel like there was enough. So it's
With
sad.
no body, it's tough to
It is,
that's tough to
and
prove.
there's no proof. The one that really got me though is the statement that there's no proof that she's not alive somewhere. Well, bro, there's no proof she is alive somewhere.
Right. She walked away from her entire life at 17 years old and has
Right.
never reached out to anyone in her family or that she grew up with.
And it's not like they've been
That
hard to
just is
find.
not real.
Right. Sarah has had a huge presence on social media
Right.
regarding her disappearance. I mean, come on. It's
Yeah.
just so awful. Also, some of Sarah's testimony, one thing that she said that really stuck out to me in 2017, she tried to push him for real answers about this case. And Michael Turney told her that he would confess on his deathbed or he would confess if they agreed to give him lethal injection within 10 days.
Yeah.
Is that what innocent people say?
No, it
You
isn't.
know, he got away with something. I'm
He did.
just heartsick for Sarah. Sarah left the courtroom, left the courthouse without a statement to anyone. She just,
I'll
had to get
bet
the
she
hell
did.
out of there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Can't even imagine what she's feeling.
She's
So we want to
probably
send
terrified.
all of our love to her and her siblings and her family and
Yeah.
anyone else who has been hurt by this case. Our hearts are with you guys, and we're just as sad and horrified as you are.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or I guess we should just say we're sad and horrified along with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. All righty. Well, also really disappointed that the judge didn't just dismiss dismiss without prejudice rather than acquittal.
To quit. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's no chance to go back and try this again.
No. No. I don't know if there'll be any legal remedy now.
There isn't after acquittal. That would
Yeah.
be double jeopardy.
Well, I just if there's any my thought had been and someone had asked me today, could there be any civil remedy? Like could Sarah sue him for wrongful death of her sister? I mean,
Yeah, she
technically
could.
could where he was acquitted. She's going to have a harder time proving that, but look at OJ. There's a possibility there.
Right. I mean, it's different. The laws are different. It's different requirements.
Yeah.
So it
Though
is possible.
I'd be very surprised if she did, but it is possible. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So with that, I'm going to kick it over to you for our main case, which is some serial killer news.
Yeah. So, as Katie alluded to, we are going to be talking about what is now officially a serial killer case in Oregon. There has been a lot of fear, a lot of concern, a lot of chatter on social media for several months now
Yeah.
that there is a serial killer in Oregon.
Hmm.
And a month or so ago, officials came out with a big statement. Everybody calm down, stop freaking out. There's no serial killer. There's no connection between any of these cases. They were talking about the deaths of 6 women. Well, today there was a joint release put out by investigators and prosecutors from multiple law enforcement agencies
Yeah.
that have been working together. They're in Northwest Oregon, and that they have determined that there are links between 4 cases: Kristen Smith, Charity Perry, Bridget Webster, and Ashley Real. Let me show you pictures of these girls. So that is, I thought I had their names and now I can't remember. That's Kristen Smith. This is Charity Perry. Let's see. This is Bridget Webster. And this is Ashley Real. And what they are saying is that there are similarities in their deaths that they now believe make them linked. What those similarities are, we really don't know. There's
Yeah.
very little released about their actual murders. Their causes of death are not released. Their anything really about the state of their bodies is not released.
I
They
mean,
have
most of
been
these
hanging
weren't
on to
even
this.
classified as homicides up to this point, right?
Right.
Most of them were still they were still working on them. Yeah.
Right, right. And they're still holding all of that information
Yeah.
very close to the chest. But there are 9 law enforcement agencies in Oregon working on this case right now.
Mhm.
They are Gresham Police Department, Portland Police Bureau, Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, Multnomah County District Attorney's Office, Clackamas County Sheriff's Office, Clackamas County District Attorney's Office, Polk County Sheriff's Office, Polk County District Attorney's Office, and the Oregon State Police.
Yeah.
So they have a suspect, and they do have a suspect in custody, although he is not yet charged with these
Right.
murders. However, he doesn't have to be, uh, because let's tell
Right.
you a little bit about him. Um, Very interesting. The situation around this particular guy is pretty interesting. His name is Jesse Lee Calhoun. This is Jesse Calhoun. As you can see, he's got a history of resisting arrest, and he
Mhm.
did have to be. What did they say? He jumped in the river when they went to arrest him, and he had
Yeah.
to be subdued, was the word that they
Mhm.
used in order to get him into custody. But he is in custody. Let me tell you a little bit about him and why they can hold him even though he's not been charged yet.
Yeah.
So um, Calhoun is 38, and he is among about 1,000 inmates who were granted clemency, allowing them to leave prison early. This was during
Yeah.
the pandemic. This was
Right.
Governor Kate Brown, and she released as many people from prison as she could
Right.
to protect people from the virus, um, especially people that were high risk, or there was a big wildfire
Yeah.
in 2020 in Oregon. And the firefighters, basically, they used up all the firefighters they could get,
Yeah.
and they were all exhausted. So there were inmates that were put in to go out on the front lines and fight fires, and
Mhm.
those inmates qualified for even earlier release.
Right.
And Calhoun is one of those. So he
Mhm.
was released early. But this was a conditional clemency. It didn't mean that he could, never be put back in prison for the things he'd done. If he started getting in trouble,
Hmm.
then he would, in fact, go back. And that's
Right.
what's happened.
And he's been on parole
Yeah. So
all
they
this
arrested
time.
him on a parole violation. So he is at the Snake River Correctional Institution in Ontario, Oregon, which is just barely across the Idaho-Oregon line.
Yeah.
Um, at this point, he has not actually been charged with the murders, but it is expected that he will be pretty soon.
Hmm.
So let me tell you a little bit about him, because he's had a pretty colorful life so far. He's known as an artist who had been earning his living by painting designs on vehicles. He has a very long record of felony convictions starting in
Hmm.
2004.
Yeah.
In 2018, he was arrested with meth, several guns, and more than 500 rounds of ammunition. Um, the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office called him a prolific thief and career criminal.
You think?
Yeah, you think? So his most recent convictions were in November of 2019. He pleaded guilty in several different cases to a bunch of felonies: burglary, unauthorized possession of a stolen vehicle, injuring a police officer and a police dog. So he had a bunch of felonies, and he was in prison
Jeez.
for those. He was serving 4 concurrent sentences, the longest of which was 50 months. Um, and so his projected release date with good behavior would have been June 30th of 2022. He got out July 22nd of 2021
Yeah.
because he went and fought fires.
Yeah.
So, um, unfortunately, he seemed to have really fallen off the side of the planet. Really, he, had maybe had some violent felonies, but not this kind of violent felony.
Yeah.
So there have been the bodies of 6 young women found this year in Oregon. Kristen Smith was found February 19th in southeast Portland. Joanna Sparks was found April 11th in Ridgefield, Washington. Charity Perry found April 24th at Ainsworth State Park in East Multnomah County. An unidentified woman, who we think is indigenous, was also found on April 24th in Lentz. The Portland Police Bureau say they don't suspect foul play in that one, but I think at this point we can't really
Right.
count anything
We
out.
don't believe you right now. We just
Yeah,
don't.
it's a little tough to take here.
Yeah.
Bridget Webster was found April 30th in Polk County, and Ashley Rial was found May 7th in Clackamas County. So you can
Mm.
see that part of the problem here is these were not all found. These bodies were all found in different places, all
Right.
over the state, which is what has really been the problem.
Yeah.
There was on June 4th, the Portland Police Bureau issued a statement, and they said PPB has no reason to believe these 6 cases are connected.
Right.
We
And why
don't
do y'all think
know.
the people were saying they were? Because they're true
Mm,
crimers. They
right,
called them
right.
online sleuths, but
Yes,
yes, it
yes,
was
but it's
true
the same
crimers that
thing.
were saying, "What the hell is happening here?"
Yeah, how can this many women go missing and their bodies be found in this short amount of time?
Yeah.
So, what happened is that we don't know if when they made that statement, they didn't know a connection and now they do, or if they were just trying to throw us all off at the time. Hard to say. But at some point around early July, there was a request to the governor's office. The governor is now Tina Kotek, and she has the authority to end any of the commutations that were made by the previous governor.
Mhm.
So there was a statement made to her by law enforcement, saying that there was a real serious issue with Calhoun, and they felt like his commutation needed to be revoked because it was very possible that he's a serial killer.
Yeah.
And so they did that on July 3rd of 2023.
Mhm.
On June 6th, officers from a lot of the agencies that have been working on this um, went to arrest Calhoun.
Mhm.
So Calhoun is 6'4" and 266 pounds. He's a big dude,
Yeah.
and he has a history of resisting arrest. He's known to resist arrest.
Yeah.
So he jumped into the Willamette River in Milwaukee and tried to escape when they tried to
Mhm.
arrest him. They did subdue him and arrest him on a parole violation that they have from June 6th in Clackamas County, which is where one of the women were found.
Yeah.
At this point, they're connecting 4 of those deaths to him. We don't know what the connection is. It may have something to do with their cause or manner of death, or how their bodies were dumped. There are a lot of things we don't know because that information has been held very tightly. It's
Mhm.
not been released.
And it won't be, well, so this is what I'm afraid of. I think there's gonna be a grand jury indictment. So we
Likely,
maybe won't see an arrest, affidavit on him, uh,
we may not.
which sucks,
Yeah.
but
Um, so he's actually in a state prison, and that state prison that we were talking about in Ontario, which is near the Idaho border.
Mhm.
Um, he so he won't be sitting in jail. He is back in prison to serve the
Yeah.
rest of his time, which
Mhm.
gives them some time
Mhm.
to put this together. And I agree that I think it's really likely that there's going to be a grand jury indictment, which is probably why he's not charged yet with these.
Mhm.
And we could be wrong about that, but it does seem that
Mhm. Oh, I hope we're wrong.
that's what that's kind of what they're waiting on. But
Yeah. I desperately hope we're wrong because I cannot wait to read the arrest affidavit, if there is one.
right, if there is one.
But because of the
So
roundabout way that this is all happening, if there's a grand jury indictment, we're probably not gonna see shit.
probably not. Yeah, not for a while. But I think one thing that we can say is that Calhoun is off the street. And it's obviously a good thing that he
Yeah.
is. So let me tell you a little bit. We don't know a lot about even what's happened in all of these cases, other than these women went
Right.
missing and their bodies were found. But here's what we do know. Kristen Smith's body, she was reported on December 22nd of 2022, and she was found on February 29th.
Mhm.
Charity Perry was found in a culvert near East Historic Columbia River Highway on April 24th.
Mhm.
Bridget Leanne Webster, 31, was found 6 days after that, 6 days, so April 30th.
Mhm.
Um, Ashley Real, she was reported missing on April 4th and was found by the Portland Bureau of Police in a wooded area in Clackamas County.
Yeah.
So the Oregon State Medical Examiner's Office is still working to determine how these victims were killed. And we think that that's where the link is, that they know something that links these 4 deaths together. And of course, there are 2 other deaths. But initially, you know, the one death for sure, the Portland police are saying that they do not suspect foul play in that one.
Mhm.
We'll see. I don't know if this is really going to lead to more bodies assigned to him or not.
Right. But obviously, things that we're thinking about are DNA, cell phone pings, as
Right.
well as like mode of or
Yeah.
manner of death in all of them because, yeah, something's
Right.
linking them
Hmm.
that's, that is obviously compelling.
Yeah. Something is enough to, at this point, for them to actually come forward and say that these
Hmm.
4 cases are linked. They've got something that they didn't have before.
Yeah, indeed.
So, I think that we all keep speaking up in these situations.
Yeah.
I think that everybody needs to not shut up, even with when the police tell us that we should, because they're not always right. And we
No.
also have to remember that they have to be able to prove it. That's what we know it by seeing it happen and go, how can 6 women go missing in this such short amount of time?
Mhm.
Right?
Can't
But
we
they
at
have to
least
be able,
consider a serial killer? Yeah.
right. But they have to be able to prove it. And that's where we don't always fall in the same place. But it doesn't mean that, people in the true crime community speaking up about things like this doesn't give somebody an idea that maybe they ought to be looking at connections between these cases. I
Exactly.
don't think that's a bad thing because
And
they
I don't
have
like
now found a link.
yeah. I don't like the pat on the head, "Settle down, silly women.
Right.
You're fine,"
Well, and
because
it
they
was a
weren't
little bit of
fine.
settle down and there's really nothing to be afraid of right now.
Yeah.
One of the statements that was made by the PBP was to community. We want to provide reassurance that the speculation is not supported by the facts available at this point. That was on June 4th.
Mhm.
Now, don't be telling women who know full well that we are always at risk,
Mhm.
not be worried when women are getting killed.
Right.
Sorry, buddy, but that does not fly.
No.
We will be worried and we will be questioning things like this. And
Mhm.
fortunately, we are in a position now to be able to speak up about it.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, the hand patting and the implying we're all just, you know,
Mhm.
freaking out and I mean, that's bullshit because
Mhm.
clearly people were right.
Right.
It really makes me question the whole thing that's going on in Austin, Texas. Same issue where
Right.
people just keep falling in that lake and drowning.
Right.
Weird. I don't know what they're up to, like 6 or 7 bodies now. It's not it's too
Mhm.
much. It's too much for
Way
it to be
too
a
much.
coincidence. So, but I do think we have to continue to speak about these things, but to
Yeah.
recognize that law enforcement is always going to err on the side of caution, and they're always going to err on the side of what they can prove and can't prove.
Right. I
Oh
mean, they
well.
have a job to do, they have the law to follow. We get that. Right, of
Mhm.
course.
But it doesn't mean we're going to be quiet if we have fears, because
Sure.
these were very much founded. So let's just look at his ugly face one more time. This is Jason Lee Calhoun.
Hmm.
And
I
thank
hope
God
that
he's
thing on
back
his lip
in
was
state
given to
prison.
him when he was trying to resist arrest.
I'm going to assume so because this is the mugshot that he was given when he was rearrested and went
Mhm.
directly back to prison,
Yeah.
which is great. Exactly where he ought to be because whatever of his sentence was commuted,
Mhm.
he still has to serve because they did
Right.
find a parole violation that they could hold him on,
Right,
which
and it was
gives
about
them
12
time.
months. So,
Yeah. And then when they charge him, he will definitely have no bail
oh, yeah.
and will
Yeah.
be held. So he's not getting out. And I think at least I hope that that helps women in Oregon and in Idaho feel a
Mhm.
little more comfortable, a little safer that
Yeah,
this
but
fool is off the street.
in cases like this, I always maybe I've just watched too many psych episodes, but, you always worry about a copycat, you know?
Right. It's true. That possibility is there. And there are still a couple of other deaths that are at this point as yet unexplained.
Yeah,
And that's a concern as well.
yeah, so
But I think we all keep speaking up and we don't listen to the poo pooing of concerns because
mhm,
the legal system works for us.
that's
They're
right.
our employees. And I know that police officers do not like it when we say that to them. And
Mhm.
I wouldn't say that directly to a cop anyway, but it is the
No,
truth.
that doesn't need to be thrown in anyone's face, but
But if
as the
citizens feel
public
unsafe,
right, and the
they should be
justice
saying so.
system shouldn't be guarded from us being able to know what's going on, ever.
Right.
Gatekeeping the
Yeah.
justice system is not the way it was intended to be, and we
Right.
do have the right to say things, we have the right to ask questions. Absolutely.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So we will be following what happens with Calhoun and we will be keeping you up to date. But at this point, that is what we know.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to kick the mic back to you for a little bit of WTF news.
Okay. Well, if this last week in true crime hasn't been completely bonkers enough for you, I've got a case that will just make you shake your head. I think. Pretty sure. This happened in Detroit on a playground. There were children playing on a playground, and two little girls got in a bit of a scuffle. Two little girls around the age of like 10 to 12 got in a bit of a scuffle.
Mm-hmm.
And one girl, a 12-year-old little girl, somehow had access to some kind of an acid that
Oh,
she threw all over an 11-year-old little girl
oh my God.
and burned her horrifically.
Oh no.
Immediately burned straight through her clothing. She ended up in the hospital in a burn unit for several days, still receiving therapy, burn therapy. Like it did serious damage, as you would imagine that it
Sure.
would. And that can't stand, obviously. So,
No. And what did this kid have access to? My God.
well, we'll get there. So she has been charged now on one count of assault with intent to do great bodily harm and felonious assault as well.
Hmm.
So she was released on a $10,000 bond with a tether, whatever that means.
Hmm. Like
Uh,
an ankle monitor or something like that.
yeah, her case will be heard of in juvenile court. She's only 12.
Yeah. Jeez.
So grandma says, grandma was there with the daughter or the granddaughter. She says that after these girls got into an argument, that the 12-year-old's mother left and came back and handed something to her,
Oh, good God.
that she provided it. Now, mom has not been charged. That's just the word of the grandma, that's what happened. So I we don't know. Is she going to be charged? And of course, that's just the word of one
Well,
party. But
if that is what happened, then she ought to be.
well, where did she? What was this? No one's
Right.
saying it. Every article I found just says acid. Well, where does a 12-year-old
But
get
what?
acid? Where does a
Right.
12-year-old who's playing on a playground procure some kind of acid that she throws on another child that does or covers her back and legs in third-degree burns?
Right.
You
I
don't just
cannot
have
imagine.
something like that with you.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
Now,
and if her
luckily,
parent did provide it, why did the parent have it with them? Like, what?
right.
That's so strange.
Like, who the hell's idea was this? This is the craziest thing I've
Yeah.
ever heard. Yeah.
Oh, that's horrific.
So the prosecutor's name is Kim Worthy. And Kim Worthy says this is an extremely troubling set of allegations. Instant, horrible decision making can have lifelong effects on others. There is no excuse for this. No,
Right.
there's not. You just cannot.
No.
You can't. So it happened on the playground at an elementary school. I'm assuming the elementary school is probably out for the summer, and these kids were
Mm-hmm.
playing. But at any rate, the victim is still healing and will be for a while. And not to mention that her mother says it'll scar her for life. It was a traumatizing event that took place, and she's going to remember this for the rest of her life. Yeah,
Right. And she'll carry scars on her body
yeah,
forever to remember it. Oh, God. Well,
yeah,
and you have to wonder, did the 12-year-old even know that what she threw on that kid would have the effect that it did?
right,
You
right,
know, I have a lot of questions about, would a kid even know what
right.
acid is and what acid would do? I mean, there's more to this
Lots of
story.
questions, and none of them will get answered because it's in juvenile court,
Right,
as it
that's
should be at
true.
that age. But yeah,
Well, yeah, but if
holy
there's an
moly.
adult that provided that to her, ooh,
Yep,
straight to jail.
straight to jail. Yep. Yep. So we'll keep an eye on that as best we can, but there may not be an update. Unless
Wow.
the victim's family continues to talk to the press, which they have done so far. So I didn't put out the victim's name, the family name, because she's 11 years old, so I'm not going to do that. But
Right, right. And the offender is 12. I mean, their lives are really destroyed right now. They don't need more.
mm-hmm. Yep,
That's really unfortunate.
yeah.
Wow. Well, aren't we just a bunch of sunshine today? I mean, I will say I'm glad a serial killer is behind bars. Let's
Oh
just
yeah,
alleged serial killer is behind bars. That's
hmm,
great.
we'll take
I
it.
guess we can take that little ray of light
Hmm.
from these stories today.
Yeah,
But good Lord, people,
But I'm not going to recover from Michael Turney for a hot minute.
Me either. No, I am absolutely heartsick over that. I just wish that they would have waited to charge him until they had more than this.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pressure
Oh, yeah.
to charge him and just fear. I mean, he's a dangerous person. He's made it out pretty
Yeah.
clear that he is, you know,
Yeah.
with the time that he spent in prison for the explosives
For sure.
and weapons and stuff. He's a scary dude.
Yeah. That is super nice of Rico to sleep right in front of my office door.
Isn't
And
that?
keep barking. Thanks, Rico.
Well,
There's nowhere else in this house for you to sleep, apparently.
Rico is a giver like that.
Apparently he is.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is our Tuesday episode. We'll be back on Wednesday with case updates. And right after case updates, if you are a member of our YouTube channel, is our watch party. So I want to tell you, we've picked the episode. So we're everything we're going to do is on Netflix. So we don't expect people to jump around streaming services because unless you're true crime podcasters like we are and have every ridiculous streaming service you can possibly imagine so that we can watch everything, you might not have them all. So we're sticking with Netflix. And we're going to watch, this is Cold Case Files Season 2, and the episode is called Devil in Disguise. So we will post that on our YouTube channel and in our Facebook group. And then if you just join the live, we'll be able to tell you then as well. I watched it today. It's going to make your blood boil. It really made my blood boil. And I think it's a good one, though. There's a lot of good discussion we're going to have out of that. So it's Cold Case Files Season 2, Devil in Disguise is the name of the episode. So that will be at 8:15 Mountain on Wednesday night after case updates. And you'll watch it on your very own Netflix, but we will have our live stream open with you so that we can discuss it and talk, which is really the fun of it. So we will be doing that. And yeah, so lots more to come this week. So definitely keep an eye on us.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being here. And you know it. We are the True Crime Squad.
Take care.